Hi everybody. Today is going to be our first lesson on breathing for singers. As singers, our breath and our posture are the foundation of everything we do. Singing is very, very physical. People are surprised at how much physical work it takes. If you are singing well and singing for a long period of time, you should feel very, very tired, actually. So breath and posture, of course, go hand in hand. If you haven't already, please review the posture and the body scan videos that have been posted. There are three components of a true singer's breath. So first of all, there's the lungs, which are housed in the rib cage. So we put that together as one part, lungs and rib cage. The second part, of course, is the diaphragm, the big sheet of connective tissue and muscle that sits kind of here above the belly button. And then the third component is our back. I'm gonna do a separate little video lesson for each of these different parts. So today we're gonna focus on the lungs and rib cage. I'm going to show you a beginner exercise for working the lungs and the diaphragm kind of in isolation. And what I'll ask you to do when it's your turn to go ahead and do the exercise is to pause the video until you are finished with the exercise and then resume it. You'll see what I mean in a moment. So let's consider the lungs and the rib cage and let's just get a sense of where they are. So take your hands and just press in, all fingers pointing toward the center on the rib cage. Give a little push, some resistance, and then just take a deep breath in. Doesn't matter if it's through your nose or through your mouth. And press the hands away and feel the lungs expanding and the rib cage expanding. And then just blow it out. Do this again. Breathing in. This time try, if you breathe through your nose, go for the mouth and vice versa. Notice my shoulders don't rise at all when I take this breath, and I don't want yours to either. And then blow it out. Good, and then drop the hands and just take a moment, notice your posture. Go back over that body scan and the posture exercise if you need to. Most of all, relax the shoulders. Okay, so nice and tall. Let's go into our first basic breathing exercise to isolate the rib cage and the lungs. Of course, all these components work together. You can never just breathe with your lungs and not the diaphragm. You can never not engage the back. It's all always happening simultaneously. But for right now, we're just gonna focus on each component individually. Put on a corset. Take your hands, take your fingers and spread them wide. Thumbs go around the back. And we're going to press in as though we're putting on a really tight belt or corset right underneath the rib cage. Now, if you're not exactly sure where you're supposed to be, take your fingers and just walk down your ribs. Give yourself a little tickle. Walk down your ribs and find where your rib cage ends. You'll know because it will be nice and soft, for some of us softer than others, right underneath that bottom rib. Squishy. Yeah, you don't want to be on the bone here. You want to be right underneath. And it's different depending on the length of your torso. So you might be closer to your hips. You might be closer up high. So find that bottom rib. Take the hands and hook right underneath. So you're giving yourself a corset or a girdle or a nice tight belt. As you do this, notice that your shoulders are going to want to come up to here as you press in. Take a breath and relax them back and down. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and then just relax. So we're gonna press in really nice and tight, like it's a kind of a too tight corset almost, or a too tight belt. And then from here, we're gonna take a breath in as though you're breathing in through a very tiny straw. You're sucking up a very thick milkshake through a very, very tiny straw. And as we do that, you can just watch once. As we do that, we're gonna let the hands expand. So we're gonna send the breath right into these tight corseted hands, and then we're going to let them expand outwards. Looks like this, shoulders relaxed, nice and tall always, breathing in. Hands expand, shoulders still relaxed back and down. And then at the top of the breath here with full lungs, we're going to the air out until you have no more air left. Obviously, all of us are going to have different lengths of our exhale, some shorter, some longer, some in between. So here's where I will want you to pause the video as you're doing your big exhale. Let's start it together. So tighten up the corset or the belt, relax the shoulders, breathing in through that tiny straw and break the belt. Go. Relax the shoulders again, hold, and hiss the air out. Pause here. Pause the video. Okay, now you've unpaused the video. You're at the end of your breath. Just shake out the hands, relax. And what we're gonna do is swallow to release any tension that we created here through the throat. Because when we are taking that very focused breath in through the straw, you might feel a little tension develop in these front neck muscles here. So swallowing releases it all. We're gonna do it again. Tighten up that belt. Remember, underneath the ribs, not on the ribs. That is quite painful. So tighten up the belt, release the shoulders. Do a quick posture check from the floor up as per our body scan. And let's take the breath in and break the belt. Send the air into the hands. Hold here, pause the video, and hiss the air out. Nice job. Once again, shake out those hands. Shake out anything else you need to. Swallow and release the tension in the front of the neck and throat. And let's go one more time. This time as you're hissing, I'd like you to be aware of space between your upper and lower teeth. So no clenching the teeth together as you hiss. A nice loose jaw. The tongue is flat in the mouth with the tip of the tongue resting just behind the lower teeth. What we don't want is and everything all tensed up. We just want a nice, steady, even exhale of that breath. Once again, nice and tall, tightening up that belt, breathing in through the straw, breaking the belt. Release the shoulders, hiss the air out, no tension in the jaw. Awesome. Shake out the hands. Swallow, release tension. And that is your first breathing exercise. And it is really all encompassing because even though right now we're just focusing on the rib cage and the expansion through the ribs, of course your diaphragm is working, of course your back is working, but I'm going to show you in future videos some more isolated exercises to work those other breath components specifically. Now, as for doing this exercise as many times as you want, you might start to feel a little dizzy if you do too much because of course we're breathing very deeply, very intensely, and then really controlling the flow of air out, which is exactly what we do when we're singing. We always, when we sing, want to think about breathing in, breaking the belt, expanding, and then controlling the flow of air as we sing a song or an exercise or whatever you happen to be singing. This right here is singing. It's just that we are just expelling air instead of notes and lyrics and all of that stuff. But if you can do this over time with lots of practice is going to translate directly into your repertoire, and you'll start to gain better breath control. More support means better tone, more volume, more control over the sound, more range, everything. Everything comes down to breath. So please practice this a lot. This exercise is called breaking the belt. You'll be able to gauge your progress by how long you can hold that exhale. So on the next round, when you play this again, start timing yourself. And if you can hold that exhale for 8 seconds to start, then the goal by next week will be to go to 10 seconds and so on. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time for some diaphragm exercises.